So by now, you already know that you need to be in a caloric deficit if you want to lose weight. So the question is, why aren't you losing weight?
Actually, I don't know.
Well, it could be one of the four reasons that I'm going to talk about in today's video why you might not be losing weight even in a caloric deficit. And the first reason is you might be eating more than you think you are.
From that food last night, all that grease. Yeah, I'm feeling a little nauseous myself.
So I always tell my clients that if you're not tracking what you're eating, then you're guessing.
Well, guess what? So do I.
And I don't know about you, but it would be pretty difficult for me to guess my way to weight loss success. I find that a lot of my clients that aren't losing weight in what they believe is a caloric deficit are actually eating more calories than they think they are. And this is always easily uncovered by just having them track their food for just a few days. Actually, there was a study that asked 11,000 people to rate their diets, and 87% of them rated their diets to be better than they actually were. And actually, when I ask my own clients how their diets are, they'll oftentimes say things like, I'm trying to eat out less, or I'm trying to eat more fruits and vegetables. And this is all great. But if your weight's going up or it's not going down, then unfortunately, this is just not good enough. When you're trying to lose weight, you need to be as precise as you possibly can be with what you're putting into your body, at least until you can pinpoint why you're either gaining weight or just not losing weight. Just think about it like this. If you're not tracking what you're eating and you're gaining weight, you could be easily eating a few hundred calories more per day than you think you are. But what if you are tracking what you eat and you still believe you're in a caloric deficit, but you're still not losing weight or you're gaining weight? Then it could be that you've reached a weight loss plateau. So if you were losing weight at one point and your weight loss stopped, you could have reached what's called a weight loss plateau. Now, a weight loss plateau happens when the amount of calories that you burn are equal to the amount of calories that you eat. Now, a weight loss plateau can also happen when you lose weight, and some of that weight comes from muscle because muscle is a huge driver of your metabolism. And what happens is when you lose muscle, it slows down what's called your BMR, or your basal metabolic rate. So what can you do to break through a weight loss plateau? Well, I'm going to give you the top 3 things that I recommend all my clients do to break through any weight loss plateau. And the first is to cut your carbs. So by now, most people that have either lost weight in the past or are trying to lose weight now know how powerful decreasing your carbs can be for weight loss. And just by cutting your carbs anywhere from 10 to 30 grams per day can be just what's needed to get your weight loss moving again. And there's even some evidence that lowering your carbs can help to reduce hunger, which can subconsciously cause you to eat less, which can actually help you start losing weight again without feeling hungry. Now, the second tip is to increase your exercise intensity or frequency. So what a lot of people don't realize is your metabolism is actually highest when you're heavier. And a lot of people think it's the other way around, but it's not. And continuing to lose weight primarily through diet can make weight loss more difficult. And this is why whenever I have a client that's having trouble losing weight or they're noticing a weight loss plateau, what I'll recommend them do is start increasing the amount of exercise they do or increase their exercise intensity. Now, one of the questions I oftentimes get whenever I recommend a client increase their exercise is, what should I increase? Should I increase the amount of cardio I do? Should I increase the amount of strength training I do? What exactly should I increase? And although there is some evidence to recommend or suggest that one is better than the other, I always recommend my clients increase both strength training and cardio. So as an example, if the recommended amount that you should increase is, let's say, 2 hours a week, then I would have you increase an hour a week of your cardio and an hour a week of your strength training. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be in hour chunks. It could be 30 minutes of strength training on Monday and 30 minutes of strength training on Wednesday, and then it can be 30 minutes of cardio on Tuesday and 30 minutes of cardio on Thursday. Either way, increasing both is probably the best route to get you the best results. And real quick, guys, if you're new here, my name is Coach William, and I've been a weight loss coach for the past 34 years, helping people just like yourself get into amazing shape using tips just like the ones I'm sharing in this video. So if you need help, no hard sell. However, if you need help on your journey, click the first link below in the description, fill out the form, and together let's figure out what we need to do to get you to where you want to be. Now, the third tip I always recommend to all of my clients to break through any weight loss plateau is to eat more protein. Now, if you've noticed a weight loss stall or plateau, just doing something as simple as adding a little extra protein to your diet could be just the thing you need to get your weight loss moving again. Now, the first reason why adding more protein is so important is because it actually increases the calorie burn by 20 to 30% due to the thermic effect of food. Now, what the thermic effect of food is how much your body has to speed up the metabolic process to digest the food. And protein's thermic effect is 2 to 3 times higher than carbs and fat. And the second reason why protein is so important is because it actually stimulates the production of hormones that help to reduce your appetite and make you feel full longer. Now, the next reason why you might not be losing weight on a calorie deficit is you're weighing yourself at different times of the day. Now, I know this might sound like it should be common sense, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but I've seen it enough times over my career with my clients to know that it's important at least to mention. So you're most likely going to weigh less first thing in the morning. And as the day goes on and you're eating and you're drinking, you're obviously going to gain weight. So here's a few rules of thumb that I give all of my clients to follow for weigh-ins. The first rule is to pick a time of day to weigh yourself and stick with it. Now, if you find that for some reason you weigh less in the afternoon, then make that the time that you're going to weigh yourself, and don't weigh yourself at any other time of the day. Just weigh yourself at the time that you decide is the best time for you to weigh yourself. The second rule of thumb is never compare one weigh-in to the next if they're at different times. So I know I just said pick a time and stick with it, but if for some reason you have to weigh yourself at another time, or you just want to weigh yourself at another time, let that weigh-in sit by itself. Never compare that new weigh-in at a different time to your normal weigh-in. So the third rule is to make sure you never weigh yourself after a meal or after drinking too much fluid. And if you do, make sure you try to use the bathroom first, because the goal is for your weigh-ins, if you're trying to lose weight, is to be as light as you possibly can be. And if you follow this rule, you're going to make sure that you give yourself the best chance of doing that. So the fourth tip is, if you don't have one, invest in a smart scale. Now, knowing what you weigh is good, but having some other metrics to go by, like your body fat, your hydration level, your muscle mass, is even better. And I know that a lot of these tools that we can have in our home, like these smart scales, aren't the most accurate tools out there, but they're the most accurate that we have access to, and giving us more data. Even though the data is not necessarily the best data, it will at least give us an idea of how we're doing, more than just knowing what your weight is. And the fifth tip is to make sure that the circumstances that surround your weigh-in are the same. And what I mean by that is, make sure, for example, that every time you weigh yourself, the scale is in the same place. Because believe it or not, just by moving that scale around a little bit can affect the weigh-in. If you weigh yourself one time on a tile floor and then you weigh yourself the next time on a carpet, you will most likely notice at least a little difference. But also the clothing that you wear. You want to make sure that every time you weigh yourself, you have on about the same amount of clothing, or exactly the same amount of clothing. For example, you wouldn't want to weigh yourself one time with sneakers on and then the next time with sneakers off, because obviously you're going to get a different reading. So make sure every time you weigh yourself, the circumstances that surround that weigh-in are the same. Now, let's say that you ruled out the above 3 reasons being a reason why you're either not losing weight or your weight staying the same. Then if you like to drink, it could be that you're drinking too much alcohol. So for my clients that like to drink, I tell them all the time that you can ruin a whole week of hard work just by going out one night and partying. And I've actually started running some personal experiments with my clients that like to drink. So what I'll have them do is I'll have them weigh in on Friday, and then I'll have them go out and enjoy their weekend and then weigh in on Monday. And on the weekends that they drink, without fail, their weigh-in is always higher on Monday than it was on Friday. And then I'll have them pick a weekend where they're not going to go out and they're not going to be partying and they're not going to be drinking. And I'll have them do the same exact thing. They'll weigh in on Friday, and then I'll have them weigh again on Monday. And they'll always notice that on Monday, the weekends that they don't drink, their weight is always either lower or the same as it was on Friday. And it's not just the drinking that's the problem, because when you go out and drink, what normally comes along with drinking? Well, what normally comes along with drinking is eating foods that don't necessarily align with your weight loss goals. Plus, alcohol is nothing but empty calories, which simply means that alcohol supplies your body with a lot of calories, but no nutritional value. And if your body can't use it, What do you think your body's going to do with it? Yes, your body's going to store it. Now, if you can check all the boxes on the above and none of them are the reasons why you're not losing weight, then it could be that your goals are unrealistic. So the other day I was on a coaching call with one of my coaching clients and I asked her, how much exercise had you done last week and how was your diet? And she told me that she hadn't done any exercise last week and she had eaten at least 75%, or at least what she thought was 75% of the way she should have eaten. So I asked her, because her goal is weight loss, I asked her, when you weighed in, what happened? Did the scale go up? Did it stay the same? Or did it go down? And she said that she only lost a pound. And the key is only, but also it's the way she said it. She said it as if she felt like she deserved to lose more. And I asked her, do you really believe with what you did last week, you should have lost more weight? And she said she believed that she should have lost more weight because at least she ate 75% of the way she should have. And I said to her, but you didn't do any exercise. So we spent some time unpacking all of that. And after that, she realized how important it was for her to do more exercise. And I said to her, I said, what if you would have exercise last week? You went from exercising 5 times a week before to no exercise. What do you think is going to be the reaction, or what do you think is going to be what happens when you step on the scale after a whole week of not exercising? And then after we talked about it a little bit more, she understood that she really didn't do enough to earn anything more than the pound. And in actuality, she should be glad that she lost a pound, because I didn't even believe she did enough to deserve to lose a pound. You see, one thing I tell all my clients is that your efforts and your expectations have to match. And for most people, they don't. Most people expect this while putting in this much effort. And that distance in between the two is often what leads to discouragement and disappointment, because a lot of people give themselves more credit than they actually deserve. You see, when it comes to losing weight in a caloric deficit, patience and consistency are key. And you've got to learn to celebrate every single pound lost and count none of them as insignificant, because even that lonely pound that you lose with consistency and patience will ultimately be the thing that will lead you to your goal. So I always encourage all of my clients to shift their thinking away from immediate results to slow, steady, and sustainable progress, because weight loss is really a marathon and not a sprint. And what I like to tell my clients is slow progress is better than no progress. Hey, and if you like this video, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you liked about it. And again, if you need help on your journey, no hard sell, but click the first link below in the description, and together, let's figure out what we need to do to get you into the most amazing shape ever.